I have the privilege of seeing so many nice builds in GTA, and from the past like 600-700 builds in the last 6 months, here are my favorite. I'll show you all the build information including their color hex. This one was difficult to find. We were in a super and hypercar meet. It was at the start of the meet, so I thought I'd have plenty of time to be able to see this car later. But whoever this was, the Ellie RSX, didn't bring this car back. So I have very limited footage of it. I really loved it. In real life, if I have any supercar, I'm going to try and get closest to this color. I think it looks good on a supercar. From what I could see, he went for a stock front bumper. I just went for stock rear bumper, even though I didn't see the back. I went with a striped hood option, but it seemed like this guy went for the subtle modifications. The color took me 2 times to get right, and then I think I did a really good job at it. And I think the wheels are forged star. You can't really tell at the angle I was at. What a good looking RSX. The best I've seen anyway. In this extremely modified meet, some people brought some extremely modified cars, and I did see a Tally GTO at the end of this meet pop up in this amber type color, and it was like dark amber. And for those of you who make your own colors know it's very hard to get a unique orange, because you go slightly too dark and it'll look like browns. You go too light and pale orange doesn't look too good. But this guy did really well with the Tally GTO, and I had to change the color so many times to end up with this amber. I did like 4 tries. It was the hardest color to actually do, but it paid off in the end. Just look at it. This one's another build by Sem, and it's the Vapid Ellie. This was actually the top 5 favorites meet, so I told people to bring a car that's in your top 5 favorite. And with the Ellie, I always find it hard to get a nice build until you find one, which I thought this one's amazing. Dark blue, you don't think in your head that Ellie in dark blue will look good, but this just did. With the Mamba wheels, really dark blue, where some people would think it's black at first. The Ellie shouts class, and on this build, the color does too. I keep saying it in a lot of car beats, black is just underrated and it looks great on this Cheetah Classic. I'm just glad that I don't have to spend so much time making a crew color. This one was in a super hypercar meet and it belonged to Stealth Sem. Yeah, these clean, simple builds are nice. The only thing I didn't like about the car was the fact that it had a sun strip, but if I'm copying the car, I have to copy it 100%, minus being off on some colors of some of the cars. A beautiful, simple build with like LM style wheels on there. There's no point overdoing it. So this was an under 500k budget meet, and I brought the Peltzer. But then when we got to the first spot, I seen 2 other Peltzers, and they were just way better. And I was getting embarrassed. There was a blue and a green one, and they just kept catching my eye to the point where I actually had to return my car, because I was like, these guys have such a better car. I went back to the drawing board. They were both really good, but the one that popped out was the green. It was nothing to do with the fact that I got too many blues on this list. And this car is probably the furthest off in terms of color. I mean, the modifications are easy. There's not that many on the Peltzer, but the color was still a nice, unique green, but it wasn't as deep as the guys who brought the green Peltzer to the car meet. The Slam Bang Custom, I've seen so many builds in meet, so many that color pop and have that pearly paint, but this one is a bit more dull, but dull in a good way. Another one that's got a bit of an off-white color, and nearly every single color just suits the Slam Band. So then when you see a crew color, it makes the Slam Band stand out even more. And of course, it being a Benny's vehicle, you can put on the Benny's wheels, and there's a good selection with the white wall. You get the thin white wall, and I don't know what it is. It makes these Slam Bands look amazing. A lot of people go for the white walls, but also these wheels are purple. There are too many good LG Retro builds out there. So many people focus so much time on that car and perfect it, and I've seen basically every single combination of LG Retro. But this time I seen a nice deep red, almost maroon LG Retro with white wheels. White wheels pop on any car, but the LG Retro sometimes it just suits really well. And really, it was the wheel and the color combination with this car. Modifications are not too much, and yeah, I think I tried to copy the red. It wasn't as good as his. Mine ended up being a bit too dark, where you could almost call it maroon as well. This meet was a JDM meet, and normally you see a lot of RX-7s or ZR350s with different unique builds, heavily modified liveries, but this one was just simple, clean, nice. It looked like he didn't touch it much, and he didn't when I went into modifying it. A lot of options are stock minus a spoiler, and it really does suit this car. Halfway through modifying it, I was thinking of stopping. I was like, wow, the white LM type wheels actually suit it with this color. But no, of course, I'm following the build. So we went with the V8 Killers in anodized copper pearl. but you can just go for the gold option if you don't have the chameleon colors. Another RX-7. I had to use the same model as I used earlier to modify it because I am not buying another car. I've got another car meet coming, which I think will be the next video, and you can see how stupidly idiotic I am, and I waste so much money in that video. Basically, all the money you see in the top right screen is gone. But we have someone here with the Falcon type livery and match the color so it looks like one color, and then it makes it look like a unique livery. It doesn't look like any of the liveries that are in LS Customs because you're just blending it in with another livery, so it looks like one color. Stock wheels. Fortunately, I couldn't color my stock wheels. I was a bit on a time crunch, but this thing looks beautiful nevertheless. I've never actually seen a Creger that I've been like, wow, that looks really nice. And then I've seen this color on the Creger, and I'm like, if someone described this to me, it wouldn't sound like I'd be fond of it. But I saw this thing in a car meet and I was like, wow, that is unique. A Creger in that color is something fresh to the eyes. So with that crew color, I put Feltzer Brown on it, and it near enough looked like the thing that I saw at the car meet. Still looks so beautiful. Off-white with a tinge of purple in there. Brilliant. You don't normally see a lot of Besti GTSs, but in this car meet, one stood out in the back, and it was this raspberry, dark raspberry. I could tell it's got a pearl on there because of the way it shines. Now, there's a big issue with my version of the Bestia because it's got Betty's wheels. I don't really want to take them off. I'm not a big fan of the color of my car currently, so I can just change it to this purple. And the Bestia GTS is one of those older gen cars, really unique, but it doesn't have a lot of modifications. He has gone with the oval exhaust options, which to be fair is way more unique, and it actually curves when it comes out of the car. His hood option is stock, even though the stock one has vent. Like, I'd say the smooth hood option is more stock than the stock one. And then coming to the color, it doesn't look right now like the color, but he has clearly put a pearlescent on there, which if we do look for it, it seems to be Fist of Pink. And there we go. We've got it near enough. Perfect. And with colors like this, color setups like this, it looks more genuine. It doesn't look like a color with a pearl on it. It just looks like one color that's really deep, metallic-y, and it's got loads of layers of paint. He's got the carbon skirts on his, and he has the modern mesh wheels. But as I said earlier, I've got the Betty's wheels on it. I don't really want to take them off. And yeah, look, as soon as you get it outside, it's still got that same color that I had in LSC. There's no color change, and I do love this color. Even if you don't like the car, the Besti GTS, which I don't know why, but if you don't like it, you can put this on any car and it looks good on a lot of cars. The Cyclone 2 is a very impressive car. It's stupidly fast. It looks better than the normal Cyclone, but did I ever think I'd be putting it on this list? No, I did not, until I seen this kind of Scion blue, electric blue, whatever you want to call it, Cyclone 2. And it amazed me that much where I was like, that's the best Cyclone 2 I've seen, and by far as well. The color suits the vehicle. The guy who made it was a genius. I don't agree with the price being 2.25 million without the HSW upgrade, but this guy went with the stock wheel options, which is weird because the stock wheel options, they don't look detailed. They look like they're off a toy car. And then the lower suspension, clearly that was HSW, so it goes even lower, tiny bit lower. Obviously no one's gonna HSW upgrade just for that. Stock spoiler option, stock skirt option, stock roof option, I think stock mirror option too. Wow. Nearly all the options are stock. But when it comes to the paint of this car, he's got it in this blue that doesn't look too unique right now. It looks very similar to gasoline green, so you can just put gasoline green on if you don't want to change the crew color. But it's the pearlescent that makes this color. But now that I think of it, the green being a tiny bit darker would have helped. But I don't know why this car just suits this color. I've never seen a color that suits the Cyclone 2 more. If you do know one, let me know. In this meet, to be honest, it was just refreshing to see a Vizion. But a Vizion at this spec, it looks really nice with that red. And I was afraid that I won't be able to copy it. Red has so many shades, so many darknesses, so many contrasts. This red seemed like it had a tiny bit of purple in there. With that livery, it just suits it. And I'm going into LSC to copy this. I have tried to guess a color. See, how I do this is I normally go on a color palette. I try and figure out a color, then get the hex code for it. Then in Rockstar Editor, you need to actually darken the color a lot because it comes out light in GTA. Now, I think I could have went a tiny bit darker here, but I'm going to settle with this. And as you can see, normally in LSC, you can't get a color like that. The closest is candy red, and it doesn't have that purple look in there. And with the wheels, he went with the stock wheels, which are really cool. But he got colored stock wheels, which again, it will take too long for me to actually have as an option. He went for unlucky for some livery, and you can see the car taking shape. And the livery GT spoiler, you can see when some cars are not just the last option or the first option, that they took time to specifically get that. Now, I feel like it's really a killer to not get the red colored wheels as well. Because they're stock, I can't color them red. For some reason, my wheels are bugging out in this video. Such a shame, but a beautiful car nevertheless. Thank you for getting to the end of the video. Like, who actually does that? Who actually gets to the end of HelloFlesh's video? Sometimes I watch my own footage back and I'm like, I need to improve on a lot of things. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I do always appreciate it. See you guys in the next one.